The pyramids of Egypt stand as some of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring structures in the world. Rising from the desert, their construction defies explanation. How were they built? Who designed them? And what secrets do they still hold? The official history credits the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians, but countless unanswered questions fuel speculation that something far stranger may be at play. Could the pyramids be the work of a lost civilization? Did ancient builders possess technology beyond our understanding? Or were these colossal structures created for a purpose we have yet to comprehend? Tonight, we journey deep into the mysteries of the pyramids, uncovering strange theories, hidden knowledge, and the possibility that history may not be as we've been told. So sit back, relax, and prepare to explore the most fascinating theories about who really built the pyramids. Chapter 1. The official story: Pharaohs and their workforce. For centuries, the towering pyramids of Egypt have stood as monuments to a civilization whose ingenuity and ambition still capture the imagination. The official story, as told by archaeologists and Egyptologists, is that these massive structures were built under the rule of the pharaohs by an organized workforce of skilled laborers. It is a tale of determination, precise engineering, and the immense power of a civilization that sought to leave an eternal mark on history. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the most famous of them all, is believed to have been built for Pharaoh Khufu during the 4th dynasty, around 4,500 years ago. The question of how such an incredible feat was achieved without modern tools or machinery has been the subject of intense study and debate. Yet, according to mainstream historians, the answer lies not in lost technologies or supernatural forces, but in the ingenuity of the Egyptian people, their labor force, and their ability to plan and execute massive construction projects on an unprecedented scale. The workforce that built the pyramids was not composed of slaves, as was once commonly believed, but rather a group of skilled laborers and seasonal workers. Evidence from archaeological discoveries, including workers' villages, tombs, and inscriptions, suggests that the laborers were well-fed and housed, treated with a level of respect that contradicts the image of forced labor. Excavations near the pyramids have uncovered remains of large-scale bakeries, breweries, and cattle enclosures, indicating that the workers were provided with substantial food supplies, including bread and beer, staples of the Egyptian diet. These findings suggest that the construction of the pyramids was a national effort, supported by the state, where farmers and craftsmen contributed their time and labor during the flood season, when agricultural work was impossible. The organization of the workforce was likely highly structured, with laborers divided into teams, each with specific tasks. Hieroglyphic inscriptions and tomb paintings depict groups of workers dragging massive stones on sleds, lubricating the ground with water to reduce friction. Engineers and architects would have overseen the planning and alignment of the pyramids with astonishing precision, ensuring that the massive limestone blocks were placed with minimal error. Recent studies propose that ramps, possibly combined with counterweights and levers, were used to lift the heavy stones into place. Some researchers suggest that a combination of straight and spiral ramps allowed for more efficient construction, reducing the amount of material and space required to move the stones higher. The sheer scale of the Great Pyramid's construction is staggering. It is estimated that the pyramid was built using approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2 and 15 tons. Transporting these blocks from nearby quarries and positioning them with such accuracy would have required meticulous coordination and planning. The quarries themselves offer clues about the methods used to extract and transport the stone. The discovery of a well-preserved ancient harbor near the Red Sea, along with records of boat transport, suggests that some of the limestone blocks may have been floated down the Nile on wooden boats, making transportation more manageable. Despite the overwhelming consensus among Egyptologists, alternative theories continue to persist, largely because of the sheer scale of the pyramids and the complexity of their construction. However, the official story is supported by tangible evidence, artifacts, worker remains, and written records that paint a picture of a society that was not only capable of such feats, but deeply invested in them as a means of honoring their rulers and gods. The pyramids were not just tombs, they were symbols of divine power, ensuring that the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife was secure. The alignment of the pyramids with celestial bodies further reinforces the idea that these structures were built with deep religious and astronomical significance in mind. Over the years, discoveries at sites like the Workers' Village at Giza have reinforced the idea that the pyramid builders were not slaves, but highly organized laborers. The presence of carefully constructed burial sites for some of these workers indicates that they were respected and honored for their contributions. Their graves, often found near the pyramids themselves, contain inscriptions and offerings that suggest they played a crucial role in the grand project of pyramid construction. This directly contradicts the once popular Hollywood image of thousands of suffering slaves being whipped into submission as they toiled under the harsh desert sun. Still, many aspects of pyramid construction remain a mystery. The exact techniques used to lift and position the stones continue to be debated, and there are still questions about how the internal chambers and passageways were designed with such precision. The Great Pyramid in particular contains features that puzzle researchers, such as the so-called air shafts that align with certain stars and the unusual Grand Gallery, which some believe may have served a purpose beyond simple construction access. The absence of clear written records describing the construction process means that despite all we know, there will always be room for speculation. The pyramids of Egypt remain among the most awe-inspiring achievements of the ancient world. While some seek alternative explanations for their construction, the mainstream archaeological view is that they are the result of careful planning, skilled labor, and the immense resources of a powerful civilization. The official story, grounded in evidence from ancient texts, tombs, and archaeological discoveries, presents the pyramids not as the work of lost civilizations or extraterrestrial beings, but as the crowning achievement of human ambition and ingenuity. Yet, the fascination with their origins persists, as does the question of whether there is still more to uncover beneath the sands of Egypt. Chapter 2. The Mystery of the Pyramids' Missing Hieroglyphs. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as one of the most enigmatic structures in history, yet one of the greatest mysteries surrounding it is not what is there, but what is missing. Unlike the temples and tombs of ancient Egypt, which are covered in hieroglyphic inscriptions depicting the achievements of pharaohs, religious texts, and scenes from daily life, the Great Pyramid is curiously devoid of such markings. This absence has fueled speculation and debate among historians, archaeologists, and alternative theorists alike. If this pyramid was truly built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, as the official narrative suggests, then why does it lack the elaborate hieroglyphic inscriptions found in other royal burial sites? What does this omission mean, and could it suggest a different purpose for the pyramid altogether? The ancient Egyptians were known for their meticulous record-keeping and their reverence for the afterlife. Tombs of pharaohs were decorated with elaborate scenes depicting their divine journey, their accomplishments in life, and prayers intended to guide them to the next world. These inscriptions were not merely for decoration, they were an essential part of Egyptian burial rituals, ensuring the deceased's safe passage into eternity. The absence of such inscriptions in the Great Pyramid stands in stark contrast to this tradition. While small graffiti-like markings have been found in some of the internal chambers, these are crude quarry marks rather than the intricate carvings expected in a royal tomb. This discrepancy raises an important question. Was the Great Pyramid ever meant to serve as a traditional burial site, or was its purpose something entirely different? One explanation offered by Egyptologists is that the Great Pyramid may have once had inscriptions, but they were removed over time due to erosion, looting, or modifications by later civilizations. However, this theory is weakened by the fact that other pyramids and structures from the same period, exposed to the same environmental conditions, still retain their hieroglyphic inscriptions. Moreover, if the interior had ever been adorned with inscriptions, remnants of paint or carved outlines would likely remain, yet none have been found. An alternative theory suggests that the Great Pyramid was never intended to be a tomb in the first place. While traditional pyramids housed burial chambers filled with sarcophagi, treasures, and religious texts, the Great Pyramid's inner chambers are strikingly plain. There is no confirmed evidence that a body was ever placed inside, and the so-called sarcophagus in the king's chamber is a simple, unadorned stone box that lacks the typical engravings seen in royal burials. Some researchers speculate that the pyramid may have served a different function, perhaps as a ceremonial structure, an astronomical observatory, or even an energy-generating device, as some alternative theorists propose. The absence of hieroglyphs has also led some to propose that the Great Pyramid predates the traditional timeline of Egyptian history. Could it have been built by an older civilization, one that did not use the same writing system as the Egyptians? This idea aligns with theories that suggest the pyramid's construction techniques and advanced mathematical precision indicate a lost high culture, one that existed long before Khufu. If this were the case, it could mean that the Egyptians inherited the pyramid rather than built it, repurposing it for their own use without adding inscriptions that would claim it as their own creation. Another possibility is that the pyramid's builders deliberately chose to leave it unmarked. Perhaps its purpose was meant to be secret, known only to a select few, or perhaps its significance was so universally understood at the time that no inscriptions were needed. If the pyramid was built as a power center, a place of immense spiritual or scientific importance, its function may have been seen as self-evident to those who constructed it. Some researchers point to the precision of the pyramid's design, the alignment with celestial bodies, and its unique internal structure as evidence that it served a purpose beyond mere burial. In this context, the lack of hieroglyphs might indicate an effort to preserve its purity and mystery, rather than a simple omission. The debate over the missing hieroglyphs ties into a broader discussion about the true origins and purpose of the pyramids. The Great Pyramid's construction remains a marvel even by modern standards, with its precisely cut limestone blocks, perfectly aligned foundation, and internal chambers that align with astronomical phenomena. If the Egyptians built this pyramid in a span of just 2 decades, using only primitive tools, why do so many questions remain unanswered? The missing inscriptions only deepen the mystery, suggesting that either something was intentionally left out of the historical record, or that we have yet to fully understand the pyramid's role in ancient civilization. Some alternative theorists suggest that the lack of hieroglyphs is evidence that the pyramid was constructed with the help of lost technology or even extraterrestrial intervention. While mainstream scholars dismiss these ideas as pseudoscience, they continue to gain traction among those who question the conventional narrative. If ancient Egyptians truly possessed advanced knowledge, whether mathematical, astronomical, or technological, it is possible that they encoded their wisdom into the structure itself rather than through written inscriptions. Could the pyramid itself be a form of communication, using geometry and alignment instead of language to convey its purpose? Regardless of which theory one subscribes to, the missing hieroglyphs remain one of the most compelling mysteries of the Great Pyramid. While the rest of ancient Egypt speaks through its intricate carvings and detailed records, the Great Pyramid remains eerily silent, offering only its towering presence as a clue to its past. Was it truly built by Khufu as a grand tomb, stripped of its inscriptions over time, or is its true history something far more complex and enigmatic? Until definitive evidence emerges, the mystery of the missing hieroglyphs will continue to intrigue and puzzle those who seek to unlock the secrets of the pyramids. Chapter 3. Were the pyramids built by a lost civilization? The idea that the pyramids were built by a lost civilization is one of the most debated and intriguing theories in history. The Great Pyramid of Giza, along with its neighboring structures, has stood for thousands of years, defying time, weather, and even human attempts at destruction. While mainstream archaeology attributes their construction to the ancient Egyptians, some researchers, historians, and alternative theorists believe the evidence suggests otherwise. Could an advanced, forgotten civilization have played a role in constructing these monumental structures? If so, who were they? And what evidence remains of their existence? One of the most puzzling aspects of the pyramids is their sheer precision. The Great Pyramid, for instance, is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points: north, south, east, and west. This level of accuracy is something that even modern architects and engineers find astonishing, considering the tools supposedly available to the ancient Egyptians. How could a civilization over 4,500 years ago have achieved such an advanced understanding of astronomy and engineering? The answer, some argue, is that the pyramids predate the Egyptians themselves, and the civilization responsible may have possessed knowledge far beyond what is typically attributed to early societies. The erosion patterns on the Great Sphinx of Giza add another layer of mystery to the theory of a lost civilization. Geologists, including Dr. Robert Schoch, have suggested that the weathering on the Sphinx does not align with the arid climate of Egypt during the time of the pharaohs. Instead, the patterns appear to be the result of significant water erosion, which suggests that the monument could be thousands of years older than mainstream archaeology claims. If true, this would mean that an advanced civilization existed in Egypt long before the pharaohs, and perhaps they were responsible for the pyramids as well. Furthermore, the scale of the pyramid building project raises questions about the capability of the ancient Egyptians. The traditional explanation suggests that tens of thousands of laborers, working for decades under strict organization, transported, carved, and placed the massive limestone blocks with only copper tools, ropes, and manpower. However, skeptics argue that this explanation underestimates the complexity of the task. Some blocks in the Great Pyramid weigh over 80 tons and were transported from quarries miles away. The logistics, precision, and sheer manpower required to achieve this, without the aid of advanced machinery, is a topic of great debate. There are also anomalies in ancient Egyptian records that add to the mystery. The Egyptians were meticulous in documenting their achievements, yet there is an eerie silence when it comes to detailing exactly how the pyramids were built. While there are references to laborers and quarrying operations, no inscriptions or hieroglyphs explicitly describe the construction techniques of the Great Pyramid itself. This absence of records leads some to believe that the Egyptians did not build the pyramids but rather inherited them from a civilization that came before them, one that either disappeared due to cataclysmic events or was absorbed into Egyptian society. The idea of a lost civilization is also supported by myths and oral traditions from various cultures. Ancient texts speak of a great flood, a golden age of civilization, and gods or beings of immense knowledge who once walked the earth. Some researchers propose that these stories may not be myths at all, but memories of a forgotten people who built incredible structures before vanishing. Could it be that the pyramids are remnants of this lost epoch, preserved through time, while the civilization that created them faded into obscurity? Even the layout of the pyramids themselves raises questions. The positions of the three pyramids of Giza align with the stars in Orion's belt, a fact that has led some to propose that their design is far older than believed. If the pyramids were indeed mapped to the stars, could they have been built at a time when the night sky looked different, perhaps thousands of years before the Egyptians? This idea suggests that an ancient civilization with a deep understanding of astronomy may have left behind these structures only for the Egyptians to later adopt them as their own. Further supporting this theory is the presence of ancient megalithic structures across the world. Many ancient civilizations from South America to Mesopotamia built massive stone monuments with remarkable precision. Some of these structures share architectural similarities with the pyramids of Egypt, leading to speculation that a single lost civilization or a network of advanced societies may have once spanned the globe. If so, their knowledge of engineering and construction could have been passed down, or in some cases forgotten entirely. There are also unexplained artifacts that hint at the possibility of advanced knowledge in antiquity. The so-called Baghdad battery, a clay jar containing what appears to be an ancient form of a battery, suggests that ancient people may have understood electricity. Other discoveries, such as intricate metalwork found in prehistoric sites and maps that depict ice-free Antarctica long before it was discovered, challenge the conventional timeline of human civilization. If such knowledge existed, could it have been passed down from a civilization that predates our recorded history? Some researchers have even suggested that the lost civilization responsible for the pyramids may have been Atlantis, the legendary advanced society described by Plato. According to his writings, Atlantis was a technologically and culturally superior civilization that vanished due to a great catastrophe. If Atlantis was real, Could its survivors have influenced early Egyptian society? Perhaps the pyramids were built as a remnant of their advanced knowledge, a message left behind for future generations to decipher. Despite these theories, mainstream archaeology remains skeptical. Most scholars argue that there is no concrete evidence of an advanced lost civilization that predates the Egyptians. They maintain that the pyramids were built using well-organized labor forces, simple tools, and ingenuity. However, the sheer scale of the mystery leaves room for speculation, and as new discoveries continue to emerge, the possibility of a forgotten chapter in human history becomes harder to ignore. The pyramids stand as a testament to human capability, but they also pose questions that remain unanswered. Were they truly built by the ancient Egyptians, or are they remnants of a civilization lost to time? If an advanced society existed before recorded history, what happened to them? Did they fall to natural disasters, global catastrophes, or simply fade into legend? The mystery endures, waiting for those who seek to uncover the truth. Chapter 4. The Precision Problem, Too Advanced for the Time. The pyramids of Egypt, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, are often described as one of the greatest architectural achievements in human history. The sheer scale and precision of these structures continue to baffle researchers, engineers, and historians alike. Built thousands of years ago using what mainstream scholars claim were simple tools and human labor, these monuments display an accuracy that is almost beyond belief. The alignment, the angles, the measurements, each element seems to have been executed with a level of precision that even modern technology would struggle to replicate. Given the limitations of the time, how could such an achievement have been possible? Did the ancient Egyptians possess knowledge that has since been lost, or is there another explanation that defies conventional history? One of the most astonishing aspects of the Great Pyramid is its alignment with true north. The difference between the pyramid's alignment and absolute north is so minimal, within 1/15 of a degree, that it rivals even the most advanced modern construction techniques. This level of precision suggests an extraordinary understanding of astronomy and geography, as well as the ability to apply that knowledge to an enormous engineering project. Modern engineers rely on sophisticated GPS technology and computer-assisted measurements to achieve similar accuracy, yet we are expected to believe that the builders of the Great Pyramid accomplished this with primitive tools, ropes, and basic surveying methods. The accuracy of the pyramid's base is another baffling detail. The four sides of the Great Pyramid form a nearly perfect square, with the difference in length between the longest and shortest side measuring less than an inch. For a structure covering over 13 acres, this level of exactness is beyond what we would expect from a civilization working with rudimentary tools. Even small measurement errors in the early stages of construction would have compounded over time, creating noticeable deviations in alignment. However, the builders seem to have maintained flawless accuracy throughout the entire project. The angles of the pyramid's sides are also near perfect, each measuring about 51.5 degrees. This consistency is critical for the structural integrity of the monument, as any significant deviation would have compromised its stability over thousands of years. Achieving this kind of precision using only wooden or copper tools, as traditional archaeology suggests, would have been nearly impossible. How did the builders manage to cut and place millions of limestone blocks with such mathematical perfection? Another major mystery is the uniformity of the massive stone blocks themselves. Many of these blocks weigh several tons, yet they were cut, transported, and positioned with an accuracy that leaves no room for error. Some of the joints between the stones are so tight that even a razor blade cannot fit between them. This level of craftsmanship suggests that the builders had either access to incredibly advanced tools or knowledge of techniques that have been lost to history. If the Egyptians were indeed using only copper chisels and stone hammers, as mainstream archaeology claims, how could they have achieved such precision? Copper is a soft metal that would have quickly worn down when used to carve into limestone, let alone the harder granite used in some parts of the pyramid. Were the builders using a form of lost technology, or is there another explanation we have yet to uncover? The choice of materials used in the construction of the pyramids also raises questions. The outer casing stones, many of which have since been removed, were made of highly polished Tura limestone, which would have made the pyramid gleam brilliantly in the sunlight. These stones were cut with such precision that they fit together seamlessly, forming an almost impenetrable surface. The level of craftsmanship seen in these casing stones is remarkable and suggests an understanding of stone-cutting techniques far beyond what mainstream history attributes to the ancient Egyptians. Inside the pyramid, the precision is just as astonishing. The king's chamber, for example, is lined with massive blocks of red granite that were transported from Aswan over 500 miles away. These blocks were not only moved such a great distance, but were also cut and positioned with an accuracy that seems almost impossible. The chamber itself follows precise mathematical proportions, suggesting a deep understanding of geometry. The sarcophagus inside the king's chamber is another enigma. It was carved from a single block of granite so perfectly that it appears to have been machined rather than chiseled by hand. Some researchers believe that the only way such precision could have been achieved is through advanced tools, perhaps even ones that used high-speed rotary cutting technology. Another curious aspect of the pyramid's construction is its resistance to earthquakes and erosion. Unlike many other ancient structures that have suffered severe damage over the millennia, the Great Pyramid has remained largely intact. This is due in part to the way its stones were arranged, interlocking in a manner that allows them to absorb seismic activity. The precise engineering involved in this design suggests knowledge of structural integrity that was far ahead of its time. How did the ancient builders know to create a structure capable of withstanding thousands of years of natural disasters? Perhaps one of the most intriguing questions about the pyramid's precision is the purpose behind it. If the Great Pyramid was merely a tomb, as traditional archaeology claims, why would such extreme accuracy have been necessary? Most burial sites do not require mathematical perfection to fulfill their function. The level of precision seen in the pyramid suggests that it was built for a much greater purpose, one that required exact calculations and engineering skill. Some researchers have proposed that the pyramid may have served as a form of energy generator, an astronomical observatory, or even a device for harnessing electromagnetic forces. If true, this would indicate that the builders were not simply constructing a monument for a dead pharaoh, but were working with principles of science and technology that we are only beginning to understand today. Even the way the pyramid interacts with the Earth itself is fascinating. The Great Pyramid is located at a latitude that corresponds to the speed of light in meters per second, a coincidence that some believe is too precise to be accidental. Additionally, the structure's proportions seem to encode mathematical constants such as Pa and the golden ratio, further suggesting that its builders had knowledge that went far beyond that of a simple ancient society. So if the ancient Egyptians did not possess the tools or knowledge required to build the pyramids with such extraordinary precision, who did? Some theories suggest that an older, more advanced civilization may have been responsible, one that predates recorded history. Others propose that lost techniques, possibly involving sound frequency manipulation or levitation, could explain how the massive blocks were moved and placed so accurately. A more controversial idea is that the builders had assistance from an external force, possibly even extraterrestrial beings, who provided the knowledge necessary to create such an unparalleled structure. Regardless of the true explanation, one thing is clear: the precision of the pyramids is far beyond what should have been possible for a civilization using primitive tools. Whether the builders had access to lost technology, an advanced understanding of mathematics, or even help from unknown sources, the mystery remains unsolved. The pyramids stand as silent sentinels, their secrets locked within their perfect measurements, waiting for those who dare to question the official story. Until we uncover definitive proof, the enigma of their precision will continue to fuel speculation, inspiring new generations to search for answers hidden in the stones of one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. Chapter 5. Theories of Ancient High Technology. The idea that ancient civilizations may have possessed advanced technology is a theory that continues to challenge mainstream history. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, and other megalithic structures around the world exhibit levels of precision, scale, and engineering that seem beyond the capabilities of their supposed time periods. If the ancient Egyptians, or even an earlier lost civilization, had access to high technology, what form might it have taken? Was it a lost form of energy manipulation, advanced machinery, or a knowledge of materials and physics that modern science has yet to rediscover? The question of ancient high technology invites speculation and investigation into anomalies that mainstream academia often struggles to explain. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for ancient high technology is the precision-cut stonework found in the Great Pyramid. The limestone casing stones, now mostly removed, were once fitted with such accuracy that even a razor blade could not fit between them. Cutting stones to such precision with copper chisels, as traditional archaeology suggests, seems nearly impossible. Some researchers propose that the builders may have used advanced tools, possibly similar to laser or high-speed rotary cutters, capable of slicing through hard stone with ease. The basalt and granite blocks used in some sections of the pyramid, particularly in the king's chamber, would have been especially difficult to carve with primitive tools. Granite, one of the hardest natural stones, requires diamond-tipped blades or high-speed machinery to achieve the kind of smooth cuts observed in the sarcophagus inside the pyramid. This raises the question, did the builders of the pyramid possess a lost method of stone cutting far superior to what historians currently acknowledge? Another fascinating clue lies in the enigmatic saw marks found on various ancient Egyptian artifacts. In locations such as the Serapeum of Saqqara, which houses massive granite sarcophagi, there are unmistakable signs of advanced stone-cutting techniques. The smooth, parallel striations found on the surfaces of these massive stone boxes suggest they were shaped by high-speed cutting tools. Traditional explanations argue that these were created by manual labor using copper saws with sand as an abrasive, but this method would have taken an extraordinarily long time and would have been highly inefficient for such massive constructions. The evidence suggests that an advanced form of stone-cutting technology was used, perhaps a lost mechanical device, an ultrasonic cutter, or something even more sophisticated that we have yet to understand. The question of how the massive stone blocks of the pyramids were moved is another mystery that lends itself to theories of ancient high technology. Some blocks, particularly those used in the construction of the inner chambers, weigh up to 80 tons. Transporting and precisely placing such massive stones with wooden sleds and ramps, as traditional archaeology suggests, seems highly improbable. Some alternative researchers propose that the ancient builders may have used sound frequency manipulation, a concept that suggests certain frequencies can neutralize or reduce the weight of objects. This idea is not entirely without precedent. Scientists today have successfully demonstrated acoustic levitation using sound waves to lift small objects. Could the builders of the pyramids have had access to a lost form of acoustic technology that allowed them to move massive blocks with ease? Another controversial theory suggests that the pyramids themselves were not just tombs but energy devices. Some researchers have speculated that the Great Pyramid was constructed in a way that allowed it to function as a massive resonator, harnessing natural earth energies. The pyramid's internal chambers, its use of specific materials like quartz-filled granite, and its alignment with geophysical energy lines all suggest that it may have served a purpose far beyond a simple burial site. Some have proposed that the pyramid generated piezoelectric energy, similar to how quartz crystals are used in modern electronics. If true, this could mean that the pyramid was an ancient power plant of sorts, using Earth's natural energy fields to produce a form of wireless electricity. One of the more radical theories suggests that the ancient Egyptians, or an even earlier civilization, may have used an advanced form of geopolymer technology. This theory suggests that some of the pyramid's massive blocks were not quarried and transported, but rather cast in place using an advanced concrete-like mixture. French materials scientist Joseph Davidovits has proposed that the Egyptians knew how to create synthetic stone by binding natural materials together in a way that closely mimicked natural limestone. This would explain the near-perfect fit of the blocks and the lack of visible tool marks on some of the surfaces. If true, this would mean that the ancient builders had an advanced understanding of chemistry and material science that was lost over time. Beyond Egypt, evidence of potential ancient high technology exists in other megalithic sites around the world. In Peru, the walls of Sacsayhuaman display massive stones that interlock with such precision that no mortar is needed. These stones have rounded edges, multiple angles, and appear to have been molded or softened before being set into place. Some researchers suggest that the builders of Sacsayhuaman may have used a form of high-tech stone softening technology, possibly a lost chemical process or even heat-based tools that allowed them to reshape the stones as if they were clay. Similar precision-cut stonework can be found in Pumapunku, Bolivia, where the H-blocks appear to have been machined with a level of accuracy that modern engineers struggle to replicate. Even more enigmatic are the ancient artifacts that appear to show evidence of machining. The famous schist disc, discovered in the tomb of Prince Sabu, resembles a modern flywheel or mechanical component. It is made of a fragile, hard-to-carve material and has a symmetrical, highly complex design. Some researchers believe this artifact could be evidence of lost mechanical knowledge, perhaps even part of a larger machine that once existed in ancient times. Further supporting the ancient high-technology theory is the presence of ancient texts and depictions that hint at lost knowledge. Some Egyptian hieroglyphs, such as those found in the Temple of Dendera, have been interpreted by alternative researchers as depictions of electrical devices. The so-called Dendera light bulb theory suggests that the ancient Egyptians may have had access to some form of electricity. Though mainstream archaeologists dismiss these interpretations, they remain an intriguing possibility. The implications of ancient high technology are profound. If an advanced civilization once existed and possessed knowledge far beyond what we currently recognize, it would mean that human history is far older and more complex than we have been taught. It could also mean that we are only now rediscovering scientific principles that were once known to our distant ancestors. Could it be that civilizations before us had access to technologies we have yet to reinvent? Were they able to harness energy in ways we cannot yet understand? If so, what happened to that knowledge? Was it lost through cataclysm, deliberate suppression, or simply forgotten over time? Despite the skepticism surrounding these ideas, the evidence suggests that ancient civilizations had access to something beyond mere primitive tools. Whether it was a form of lost high technology, an advanced understanding of natural forces, or even external assistance from an unknown source, the question remains, how did they do it? Until we can fully replicate their feats using only the methods attributed to them, the mystery of ancient high technology will continue to challenge the mainstream narrative, inviting us to look deeper into the past and question everything we think we know. Chapter 6. Were the pyramids power plants? The idea that the Great Pyramid of Giza was not a tomb but a massive energy generator is one of the most controversial and intriguing theories about ancient Egypt. The traditional view holds that the pyramid was constructed as a final resting place for Pharaoh Khufu, yet no mummies, burial artifacts, or inscriptions confirming this have ever been found inside. Instead, the pyramid's unique design, precise alignment, and choice of materials suggest that it may have served a far more advanced function, one that involved the harnessing and transmission of energy. Could the Great Pyramid have been an ancient power plant, generating and distributing energy in ways modern science has yet to fully understand? One of the most striking features of the Great Pyramid is its precise alignment with true north. The pyramid is oriented with such accuracy that it deviates from true north by only a fraction of a degree, an astonishing level of precision for an ancient civilization. Modern structures built with advanced surveying tools still struggle to achieve this level of accuracy. This alignment suggests a deep understanding of Earth's geomagnetic properties and hints that the pyramid's builders may have been deliberately positioning it to tap into natural energy flows. Some researchers believe that this alignment played a crucial role in the pyramid's ability to harness and channel energy, much like an antenna receiving and transmitting signals. The materials used in the construction of the pyramid also provide intriguing clues. The pyramid is primarily made of limestone, but its inner chambers contain massive blocks of granite, particularly in the king's chamber. This granite is rich in quartz, a mineral known for its piezoelectric properties, meaning it can generate an electrical charge when subjected to mechanical stress or pressure. In modern technology, quartz is used in electronic devices, including watches, radios, and computers to regulate frequency and transmit energy. If the ancient Egyptians understood how to harness these properties, it is possible that the pyramid's granite blocks served as an energy conduit capable of generating and amplifying electromagnetic forces. Supporting this theory is the presence of subterranean water sources beneath the pyramid. Studies have confirmed that there is a network of underground chambers and possible water channels beneath the Giza Plateau. Flowing water can generate electricity through a process known as the electrokinetic effect, where the movement of water against certain materials creates an electrical charge. If water once flowed beneath the pyramid, it could have acted as a power source, generating natural energy that was then amplified by the pyramid's structure. This would align with the idea that the pyramid functioned as a type of hydroelectric power generator. Another fascinating detail is the absence of soot or smoke residue inside the inner chambers of the pyramid. Traditional historians argue that the Egyptians used oil lamps or torches to illuminate dark spaces, yet there is no evidence of burn marks or soot accumulation on the walls. This has led some to speculate that the pyramid may have utilized a different method of illumination, possibly a form of electrical lighting. The so-called Dendera light bulb carvings found in the Temple of Hathor at Dendera depict what some researchers interpret as ancient electrical devices resembling modern-day plasma lamps. If the Egyptians had access to a form of electricity, it would explain how they could have worked inside the pyramid without the need for open flames. Adding to the mystery is the structure of the pyramid itself. Unlike other pyramids in Egypt, the Great Pyramid lacks traditional burial decorations, hieroglyphics, and artifacts commonly found in tombs. Instead, its inner passages, shafts, and chambers resemble a machine-like structure. The king's chamber, for example, has a series of narrow shafts leading outward, which some believe were used to channel energy rather than for ventilation or astronomical alignment. These shafts are too small for human passage and do not seem to serve any conventional purpose. Some researchers suggest that they played a role in directing energy flows, possibly acting as waveguides for microwave transmissions. Further supporting the power plant hypothesis is the discovery of electromagnetic anomalies around the pyramid. Studies have shown that the pyramid concentrates and distributes electromagnetic energy, particularly in its internal chambers and the base. Scientists from ITMO University and the Laserzentrum Hannover in Germany conducted research modeling how the pyramid interacts with electromagnetic waves. Their findings suggest that the pyramid can focus electromagnetic energy within its chambers and beneath its base, creating resonant effects that could have been intentionally designed. If the pyramid was built to harness and manipulate energy, it could mean that the ancient Egyptians or an even earlier civilization had access to knowledge far beyond what mainstream history acknowledges. Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant minds in electrical engineering, had ideas that strangely parallel the pyramid power plant theory. Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was designed to transmit wireless electricity using the Earth's natural electrical charge. He believed that energy could be harnessed and transmitted wirelessly through resonance, allowing for global power distribution without the need for traditional cables or wires. Interestingly, Tesla's tower shared similarities with the pyramid's design. It was built with specific geometric proportions, used conductive materials, and was positioned on an underground aquifer to enhance its energy transmission capabilities. Could Tesla have rediscovered a principle that the ancients already understood? Was the Great Pyramid of Giza an ancient Tesla tower, designed to generate and distribute energy over vast distances? Another intriguing aspect of the pyramid's design is its shape. The pyramid form itself may play a role in energy accumulation. Some researchers believe that the pyramid shape acts as a kind of energy capacitor, collecting and focusing cosmic and telluric Earth-based energy. There have been numerous anecdotal reports of pyramid structures influencing biological processes, preserving food, sharpening blades, and even accelerating healing. If the Great Pyramid was designed as an energy accumulator, it could explain why so many ancient cultures, from the Mayans to the Chinese, built pyramid-like structures with similar geometric configurations. Some researchers have proposed that the Great Pyramid once had a gold or other conductive material capstone, which could have played a crucial role in its function as an energy generator. Gold is one of the best conductors of electricity, and if the pyramid was topped with a gold capstone, it could have acted as a powerful transmitter, directing energy skyward or distributing it across a network. Some alternative historians suggest that the missing capstone, often depicted in ancient illustrations, was removed intentionally or lost over time, disrupting the original function of the pyramid as a power-generating structure. The implications of this theory are profound. If the ancient Egyptians or a civilization before them had access to a form of wireless energy, it would challenge everything we know about history and technology. It would suggest that ancient knowledge was far more advanced than previously thought, and that the pyramids were not simply elaborate tombs but complex energy devices. This theory also raises questions about the true purpose of other ancient megalithic sites around the world. Were structures like Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, and Teotihuacan also part of an ancient global energy network? Despite its compelling nature, the pyramid power plant theory remains highly controversial. Mainstream Egyptologists dismiss the idea, arguing that there is no direct evidence to support the claim that the pyramid functioned as an energy device. They maintain that the pyramid was built as a tomb, despite the lack of a sarcophagus, inscriptions, or funerary artifacts within the Great Pyramid itself. Critics argue that the anomalies presented as evidence can be explained through natural geological processes, traditional construction techniques, and coincidental alignments. However, the questions remain. Why does the Great Pyramid exhibit properties that suggest an advanced understanding of energy? Why does it lack traditional tomb decorations? Why was it built with piezoelectric materials, precisely aligned with the Earth's energy grid, and designed with a complexity that seems unnecessary for a mere burial site? If the pyramid was indeed a power plant, it would mean that ancient civilizations had knowledge of energy generation, transmission, and possibly even wireless electricity long before the modern era. It would suggest that we are only now rediscovering principles that were once well understood. Whether this knowledge was lost due to catastrophe, secrecy, or suppression, the mystery of the Great Pyramid's true purpose continues to intrigue researchers and challenge our understanding of history. Until definitive evidence is found, the question remains open. Was the Great Pyramid of Giza an ancient power plant, a forgotten relic of a lost high-tech civilization, and a key to a deeper knowledge of energy that humanity has yet to reclaim? Chapter 7. The use of sound and levitation in construction. The idea that ancient civilizations may have used sound and levitation to construct massive structures like the pyramids is one of the most fascinating and controversial theories in alternative archaeology. The sheer scale of the Great Pyramid of Giza and other megalithic structures around the world has led many to question whether conventional explanations such as wooden sleds, ramps, and human labor are sufficient to account for their construction. Some researchers propose that these civilizations may have harnessed advanced techniques, including the use of sound frequencies and levitation, to move and position enormous stone blocks with precision. Could ancient builders have possessed a lost knowledge of acoustics, resonance, and anti-gravity technology? And if so, what evidence exists to support such an idea? One of the primary arguments for sound-based construction methods is the sheer size of the stones used in ancient structures. Many of the limestone blocks that make up the Great Pyramid weigh between 2.5 and 15 tons, while the granite blocks in the King's Chamber can weigh up to 80 tons. Moving such massive stones using primitive tools and simple ramps remains a topic of debate among engineers and historians. Even today, with modern machinery, lifting and transporting blocks of that size would be an enormous challenge. Yet, the ancient Egyptians were able to move these stones over long distances and arrange them with astonishing precision. The question remains how. One of the earliest clues that sound may have played a role in ancient construction comes from various myths and legends. Many ancient cultures describe the use of sound as a tool for lifting and moving objects. In ancient Egyptian lore, there are references to priests and magicians who could command objects with their voices. Similarly, in Tibetan tradition, monks were said to use chanting and musical instruments to levitate large stones into place. According to an account from a Swedish doctor named Jarl, who visited Tibet in the 20th century, a group of monks allegedly demonstrated how they could move large boulders using sound. The monks arranged drums, trumpets, and chanting voices in a semicircle and directed sound waves toward a stone, causing it to levitate and move into position. While this story remains unverified, it aligns with similar legends found in other cultures. Further supporting the idea of acoustic levitation is the scientific principle of resonance. Every object has a natural resonant frequency, meaning that when it is exposed to the right sound vibrations, it can begin to oscillate or even move. Modern experiments have demonstrated that sound waves can be used to lift small objects off the ground. In laboratories, acoustic levitation has been used to suspend tiny particles, water droplets, and even small living organisms in midair. While current technology is not yet capable of levitating multi-ton blocks, it does suggest that sound can influence matter in ways that are not yet fully understood. Could the ancients have mastered this principle on a much larger scale? Another intriguing clue comes from the architecture of the Great Pyramid itself. Some researchers believe that the pyramid's design incorporates elements of acoustic resonance. The King's Chamber, for example, is constructed with massive granite blocks that contain high levels of quartz. Quartz is known for its piezoelectric properties, meaning it can generate an electrical charge when subjected to mechanical stress. Some theorists suggest that the chamber could have functioned as a resonator, amplifying certain frequencies that may have been used in construction or energy generation. If the ancient Egyptians understood how to manipulate sound frequencies, they may have been able to use them to reduce the effective weight of the stones, making them easier to transport and position. In addition to acoustic levitation, some researchers have proposed that ancient builders may have used sound waves to weaken the gravitational field around objects. This concept, while speculative, is supported by certain anomalies observed in ancient megalithic sites. For example, in the Andes Mountains of South America, there are stories of the builders of Tiwanaku and Sacsayhuaman using whistling sounds or musical instruments to move stones that weigh hundreds of tons. These sites feature massive stone blocks that are precisely cut and fitted together without the use of mortar, raising questions about how such precision was achieved with primitive tools. One of the most famous proponents of sound-based levitation was Edward Lidskalnin, the enigmatic builder of Coral Castle in Florida. Lidskalnin, a Latvian immigrant, single-handedly moved and positioned massive limestone blocks, some weighing up to 30 tons, without the use of modern machinery. When asked how he accomplished this, he cryptically stated that he had discovered the secrets of the ancient Egyptians. Some witnesses claimed that he used a form of harmonic resonance to manipulate the weight of the stones. While the exact methods he used remain unknown, Coral Castle serves as a modern example of how a single person might have employed unconventional techniques to move massive stones. The possibility that ancient civilizations had access to lost knowledge of acoustics and levitation raises profound questions about history. If sound was used as a construction tool, it would suggest that ancient peoples possessed an advanced understanding of physics that has since been forgotten. This could mean that early civilizations were far more technologically sophisticated than previously believed, or that they inherited knowledge from an even older lost civilization. Could the Great Pyramid and other ancient structures be remnants of a forgotten science, one based not on brute force but on the precise manipulation of natural forces? Mainstream archaeology dismisses the idea of sound and levitation as tools for pyramid construction, arguing that there is no direct evidence to support such claims. Instead, traditional explanations focus on the use of simple machines, such as levers, sleds, and ramps. However, these explanations still fail to address many of the logistical challenges associated with moving and positioning enormous stone blocks. The absence of detailed records or depictions of how the pyramids were built only adds to the mystery. Why would a civilization that documented so much of its daily life, including farming, medicine, and religious practices, fail to leave behind clear evidence of how its most iconic structures were constructed? Ultimately, the theory that the pyramids were built using sound and levitation remains speculative, but it continues to intrigue researchers and alternative historians. The idea that sound frequencies could be used to influence matter and counteract gravity is not entirely outside the realm of possibility. Modern physics is only beginning to explore the potential of acoustic levitation and wave-based propulsion. If future discoveries confirm that ancient builders possessed a deeper understanding of these principles, it could revolutionize our understanding of history and technology. Until then, the mystery remains: were the pyramids and other megalithic structures built using lost techniques involving sound resonance and levitation? And if so, what other forgotten knowledge might still be waiting to be rediscovered? Chapter 8. Theories of Alien Intervention. The idea that extraterrestrials may have played a role in the construction of the pyramids is one of the most controversial and widely discussed theories in alternative history. While mainstream archaeologists maintain that the pyramids were built by the ancient Egyptians using human labor, simple tools, and engineering ingenuity, proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the scale, precision, and unexplained aspects of pyramid construction suggest the involvement of an advanced intelligence, one that may not have originated on Earth. The sheer size of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the alignment of its structure with celestial bodies, the mathematical knowledge embedded in its design, and the lack of definitive evidence showing how it was built have all fueled speculation that the ancient Egyptians either received help from extraterrestrial visitors or were influenced by knowledge passed down from them. Could it be possible that the pyramids are remnants of contact with beings from beyond our world? And if so, what evidence supports this theory? One of the key arguments for alien intervention revolves around the technological sophistication required to construct the pyramids. The Great Pyramid, for example, consists of over 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. The granite blocks used in the king's chamber weigh up to 80 tons and were transported from Aswan, nearly 500 miles away. Moving, cutting, and precisely placing these stones using copper tools and manpower alone remains a subject of debate. The sheer logistics of assembling such a structure without modern cranes, pulleys, or advanced engineering raises questions about whether the ancient Egyptians had access to knowledge or technology beyond what history currently acknowledges. Some theorists suggest that an extraterrestrial intelligence may have provided guidance or direct assistance, using advanced construction techniques unknown to us today. Another intriguing aspect of the pyramids is their precise alignment with celestial bodies. The Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with true north, an accuracy that is difficult to achieve even with modern instruments. Some researchers have pointed out that the three pyramids of Giza align closely with the three stars of Orion's belt, suggesting a connection between their construction and knowledge of astronomy. If the ancient Egyptians had only rudimentary tools, how were they able to achieve such precision? Some believe that this level of accuracy implies access to advanced astronomical knowledge, possibly imparted by extraterrestrial beings. The Dogon people of West Africa, for example, have long been cited as evidence of ancient alien contact. They possess knowledge of the Sirius star system that was supposedly passed down from their ancestors, who, according to their oral traditions, were visited by beings from the stars. Could the ancient Egyptians have had a similar encounter? The mathematics embedded within the Great Pyramid also fuel speculation of otherworldly influence. The pyramid encodes values such as pi, and the golden ratio phi, mathematical constants that were supposedly unknown at the time. The ratio of the pyramid's height to its perimeter mirrors the proportions of a sphere to its circumference, suggesting a deep understanding of mathematical and geometric principles. Some researchers argue that these mathematical correlations are too precise to be coincidental and suggest that they may have been provided by an advanced intelligence, one that had an understanding of the universe far beyond that of early human civilizations. The ancient astronaut theory is also supported by mysterious depictions found in Egyptian hieroglyphs and other ancient art forms. Some carvings and reliefs appear to show humanoid figures with elongated heads, large eyes, and other features that resemble modern descriptions of extraterrestrial beings. In the Temple of Seti I in Abydos, a controversial set of carvings appears to depict futuristic technology, including what some believe to be a helicopter, an airplane, and even a spacecraft. While mainstream scholars argue that these images are the result of overlapping carvings from different time periods, others see them as potential evidence that ancient Egyptians either saw or were influenced by advanced flying machines, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. One of the most famous accounts that fuels speculation about alien involvement comes from the Tuli Papyrus, an ancient Egyptian document that allegedly describes a mass UFO sighting during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III. According to translations, the text describes circles of fire appearing in the sky, moving in unison and eventually disappearing. The original papyrus is missing and its authenticity is debated, but if true, it could suggest that the ancient Egyptians witnessed unexplained aerial phenomena, possibly extraterrestrial spacecraft. Could these sightings have inspired their architectural designs? Could the construction of the pyramids have been influenced by beings with advanced technology? Another aspect of the alien intervention theory is the idea that the pyramids served a purpose beyond being mere tombs. While traditional Egyptology maintains that the pyramids were burial structures for pharaohs, no mummies have ever been found inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. Some alternative researchers argue that the pyramids were instead energy-generating structures, possibly designed to harness or transmit power. Theories suggest that the pyramids could have functioned as wireless energy transmitters, similar to Nikola Tesla's concepts of wireless power. If this were the case, could the pyramids have been built using knowledge imparted by an extraterrestrial civilization that understood advanced energy systems? Some even speculate that the pyramids' underground chambers and the use of quartz-rich granite could have been part of a complex energy harnessing mechanism. Despite the intrigue surrounding the ancient astronaut theory, mainstream historians and archaeologists remain skeptical. They argue that there is no direct evidence of alien involvement in pyramid construction and that ancient Egyptians were capable of remarkable engineering feats using the knowledge and tools available to them at the time. The ability to move large stones, organize labor forces, and develop advanced mathematics was within the capabilities of human civilizations, even without extraterrestrial assistance. However, the gaps in our understanding, such as the lack of clear records detailing the exact construction process, the mysterious precision of the structures, and the unexplained depictions of strange beings in ancient art, continue to fuel speculation. The theory of alien intervention in pyramid construction ultimately raises profound questions about the origins of human civilization. Were the pyramids purely the result of human ingenuity, or did an advanced intelligence, possibly from another world, play a role in shaping one of the most enduring architectural wonders on Earth? If extraterrestrials did interact with ancient Egyptians, what was their purpose? Did they simply observe and guide, or did they actively participate in the construction? And if they were involved, does that mean they left behind other traces of their presence, waiting to be discovered? As our understanding of space, physics, and ancient history continues to evolve, the mystery of the pyramids remains one of the most fascinating enigmas of the ancient world. Whether the answer lies in lost human knowledge, advanced forgotten civilizations, or extraterrestrial contact, the possibility that the pyramids were influenced by beings beyond Earth is a theory that refuses to fade. Until definitive proof is found, the question lingers: did aliens help build the pyramids? And if so, what else have they influenced throughout human history? Chapter 9. The Atlantean Connection. Did an advanced civilization build them? The idea that the pyramids may have been built by an advanced lost civilization, possibly even the fabled civilization of Atlantis, is one of the most debated theories in alternative history. The Great Pyramid of Giza, along with other ancient megalithic structures, displays an extraordinary level of mathematical, engineering, and astronomical sophistication that has led some researchers to believe it could be the work of a civilization far older than mainstream archaeology suggests. If the pyramids were not simply the product of the ancient Egyptians, but rather the remnants of an advanced pre-Diluvian culture, what would that mean for our understanding of history? Could Atlantis, described by the Greek philosopher Plato, have been the source of the knowledge and technology required to build the pyramids? And if so, what evidence exists to support such a claim? The legend of Atlantis originates from the writings of Plato, specifically in the dialogues Timaeus and Critias, written around 360 BCE. Plato describes Atlantis as a powerful and technologically advanced civilization that existed approximately 9,000 years before his time. According to the story, Atlantis was an island nation beyond the Pillars of Hercules, modern-day Gibraltar, that eventually succumbed to a great cataclysm, sinking beneath the waves in a single day and night of destruction. While mainstream historians regard Atlantis as a myth, others believe that Plato may have been referring to a real civilization that was lost to history. Some researchers suggest that survivors of Atlantis may have spread their knowledge to other parts of the world, influencing early human civilizations, including the ancient Egyptians. One of the primary reasons the Atlantean theory is linked to the pyramids is the sheer level of precision and mathematical knowledge embedded in their construction. The Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with true north, a feat that would have required advanced surveying techniques and an understanding of the Earth's axial tilt. Additionally, the pyramid encodes mathematical constants such as pi, and the golden ratio, phi, as well as relationships between the dimensions of the Earth and the speed of light. Some researchers argue that such knowledge would have been far beyond what should have been available to the ancient Egyptians at the time. This has led to speculation that the knowledge required to construct the pyramids may have originated from an older, more advanced civilization, one that possibly predates recorded history. Further supporting this theory is the idea that the pyramids are much older than traditionally believed. According to mainstream archaeology, the Great Pyramid was built around 2580–2560 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. However, some alternative researchers suggest that the erosion patterns on the Sphinx, located near the pyramids, indicate water damage rather than wind and sand erosion. This has led geologists like Robert Schoch to propose that the Sphinx may be thousands of years older than the official timeline suggests, possibly dating back to 10,000 BCE or earlier. If the Sphinx is indeed that old, it would imply that an advanced civilization capable of monumental construction existed long before the rise of dynastic Egypt. This timeline aligns with the supposed time frame of Atlantis's destruction, suggesting that survivors of the lost civilization may have settled in Egypt and influenced the construction of the pyramids. The concept of a pre-Diluvian advanced civilization is not limited to Atlantis. Many ancient cultures have myths and legends describing a great flood that wiped out an earlier civilization. The biblical story of Noah's Ark, the Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh, and Hindu texts such as the Mahabharata all speak of catastrophic floods that reshaped the world. If such an event occurred, It is possible that remnants of an advanced civilization, whether Atlantis or another lost culture, preserved their knowledge and passed it down to the Egyptians. Some researchers believe that the Egyptian priesthood, particularly the mysterious group known as the followers of Horus, were the keepers of this ancient wisdom. Could it be that the knowledge required to build the pyramids was inherited rather than developed independently? There is also evidence suggesting that ancient Egyptian society may have had contact with other advanced civilizations. The Osirian, an ancient megalithic temple in Abydos, is often cited as an example of pre-dynastic construction. The temple's massive, precisely cut granite blocks resemble the architectural style found in megalithic sites such as Machu Picchu and Puma Punku in South America. Some alternative researchers argue that this suggests a global civilization or shared knowledge among ancient cultures, possibly linked to a lost civilization like Atlantis. The similarity in construction techniques and the apparent technological advancements found in various ancient sites raise the question of whether the knowledge to build the pyramids was part of a much older tradition, one that extended far beyond Egypt. Another intriguing connection between Atlantis and the pyramids is the focus on energy and resonance. Some theories suggest that the pyramids were not merely tombs, but rather energy-generating structures. The use of quartz-rich granite in the king's chamber, the pyramid's internal geometry, and its location on key energetic ley lines have led some researchers to propose that it may have functioned as a power plant or transmitter of some kind. Interestingly, descriptions of Atlantis often include references to the civilization's advanced energy technology. According to Edgar Cayce, the American mystic known for his psychic readings, Atlantis possessed a great crystal that harnessed cosmic energy. While these claims remain speculative, the possibility that the pyramids were designed with a technological purpose in mind aligns with the idea that they may have been built by an advanced civilization. Skeptics of the Atlantean theory argue that there is no direct evidence linking Atlantis to the pyramids and that all claims of pre-dynastic construction are based on speculation rather than concrete proof. Mainstream archaeology maintains that the ancient Egyptians were capable of remarkable feats of engineering and that all available evidence supports the conventional timeline of pyramid construction. However, the lack of detailed records explaining exactly how the pyramids were built, coupled with the anomalies found in their design and geological features, leaves room for alternative interpretations. The idea that an advanced civilization, whether Atlantis or another unknown culture, played a role in the construction of the pyramids remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in human history. If Atlantis truly existed and its survivors passed down their knowledge to the Egyptians, it would mean that human civilization is far older and more complex than currently accepted. The possibility of a lost golden age of technology and wisdom, wiped out by a cataclysmic event, challenges everything we think we know about history. Were the pyramids the final legacy of a forgotten civilization, and if so, what other secrets might they hold? Until definitive proof is found, the mystery of the pyramids and their possible connection to Atlantis will continue to fuel speculation and debate, leaving us to wonder about the true origins of these enigmatic structures. Chapter 10: The Orion Correlation Theory, a Celestial Blueprint. The Orion correlation theory is one of the most intriguing and controversial ideas about the construction of the pyramids, suggesting that their placement was not arbitrary, but rather part of a grand celestial blueprint. Proposed by Robert Bauval in the 1990s, this theory argues that the three pyramids of Giza, those of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, are aligned with the three stars that form Orion's belt in the constellation of Orion. The theory extends beyond mere alignment, implying that the entire layout of ancient Egyptian civilization may have been designed to reflect the heavens, with the Nile River representing the Milky Way. If true, this would suggest that the pyramids were not just tombs, but part of a much larger, more sophisticated plan, one that linked human civilization to the stars. At the heart of the Orion correlation theory is the belief that the ancient Egyptians were deeply connected to astronomy and that their knowledge of the cosmos was far more advanced than traditionally thought. The pyramids at Giza are positioned with such precision that they not only mirror the stars of Orion's belt, but also align with the cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west to an extraordinary degree of accuracy. The Great Pyramid, for example, is aligned with true north within a fraction of a degree, a feat that would have required an understanding of Earth's axial tilt and an ability to measure the stars with remarkable precision. Given that the ancient Egyptians supposedly lacked sophisticated instruments, how were they able to achieve such an alignment? Some researchers believe this suggests a lost body of astronomical knowledge, one that may have been inherited from a much earlier civilization. The Orion constellation held immense significance in Egyptian mythology, particularly in relation to Osiris, the god of the afterlife, resurrection, and rebirth. The ancient Egyptians believed that Osiris ruled over the Due, the realm of the dead, which was closely associated with the stars. The connection between Osiris and Orion is evident in ancient texts, including the Pyramid texts, which describe the pharaoh's soul ascending to Orion after death to join the gods. If the pyramids were indeed designed to reflect Orion's belt, this would reinforce the idea that they were not merely tombs, but rather gateways for the souls of the deceased to travel to the stars. In this interpretation, the pyramids become more than just monuments. They become part of a grand celestial ritual designed to ensure the eternal journey of the pharaoh's soul. Further supporting the theory is the idea that the layout of the pyramids does not simply reflect Orion as it appears in the sky today, but rather as it would have appeared around 10,500 BCE. This is significant because it aligns with the date proposed by some alternative researchers for the construction of the Sphinx, based on geological evidence of water erosion. If the Giza pyramids were indeed designed to mirror Orion's belt at this much earlier date, it would suggest that the origins of pyramid construction predate the traditional timeline of ancient Egypt. Could it be possible that the builders of the pyramids were working with a knowledge base far older than previously assumed? If so, where did this knowledge come from? One of the most compelling aspects of the Orion correlation theory is its potential connection to other ancient structures around the world. Some researchers have pointed out that megalithic sites, such as Teotihuacan in Mexico and the pyramids of China, also seem to mirror Orion's belt. The layout of Teotihuacan's pyramids, the Pyramid of the Sun, the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Pyramid of Quetzalcoatl closely resembles the alignment of the three main pyramids at Giza. Could this be mere coincidence, or does it suggest that ancient civilizations across the globe shared a common understanding of astronomy and cosmic symbolism? If so, how did such distant cultures arrive at the same celestial blueprint? The precision with which the Giza pyramids were constructed adds another layer of mystery to the Orion correlation theory. The Great Pyramid, for example, encodes a wealth of mathematical and astronomical data, including the ratio of pi, the golden ratio phi, and even a scale model of the Earth's dimensions. Some researchers argue that such precision indicates that the builders possessed knowledge well beyond what should have been available in the ancient world. If the pyramids were truly aligned to Orion as part of a celestial map, then the entire complex may have been designed as a kind of astronomical instrument, recording key cycles of the stars and the precession of the equinoxes. This raises the question, was the construction of the pyramids guided by a lost science, one that linked the movements of the heavens to the structures on Earth? Skeptics of the Orion correlation theory argue that the alignment between the pyramids and Orion's belt is not exact, and that the correlation is a case of pattern recognition rather than intentional design. They also point out that the positions of other pyramids in Egypt do not fit the star map, suggesting that the theory selectively focuses on the Giza Plateau while ignoring inconsistencies elsewhere. Additionally, mainstream Egyptologists maintain that the pyramids were built primarily as tombs and that their orientation was dictated by practical and religious considerations rather than a grand astronomical plan. Despite these criticisms, the Orion correlation theory continues to capture the imagination of those who question the conventional understanding of ancient history. If the pyramids were indeed part of a celestial blueprint, then it suggests that the ancient Egyptians, or those who influenced them, possessed a sophisticated awareness of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering that may have originated from a lost civilization. Whether this knowledge came from an earlier human culture, an advanced prehistoric civilization, or even extraterrestrial influence remains an open question. Ultimately, the Orion correlation theory challenges us to reconsider the true purpose and origins of the pyramids. Were they merely grand tombs for pharaohs, or were they part of a cosmic design, a terrestrial reflection of the heavens intended to guide the souls of the departed? If the ancient Egyptians were indeed mirroring the stars in their construction, what other secrets might they have encoded into their monuments? The mystery of the pyramids remains unsolved, but one thing is certain: their design was not random. Whether by human ingenuity, forgotten knowledge, or even extraterrestrial influence, the pyramids stand as a testament to an extraordinary level of intelligence and planning, one that continues to defy explanation. Chapter 11: The Role of the Sphinx in Pyramid Construction Mysteries. The Great Sphinx of Giza is one of the most enigmatic monuments in the world, standing as a silent guardian near the pyramids, its origins and purpose shrouded in mystery. While mainstream Egyptology holds that the Sphinx was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khafra around 2500 BCE, many alternative researchers argue that it is far older, possibly predating the pyramids themselves. If this is the case, what role did the Sphinx play in the construction of the pyramids, and could it hold clues to the true purpose and origin of these ancient structures? Some believe that the Sphinx was an integral part of a grand design, serving as a marker, a timekeeper, or even a repository of hidden knowledge that ties directly into the mystery of who built the pyramids. One of the most compelling arguments for the Sphinx's involvement in the pyramid mystery is its alignment with the stars. On the vernal equinox, the Sphinx directly faces the rising sun, suggesting that it was designed with astronomical significance in mind. Some researchers, such as Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock, argue that the Sphinx aligns more closely with the constellation of Leo, as it would have appeared around 10,500 BCE. This date coincides with a period of significant climatic upheaval, and is also when some believe an advanced lost civilization may have existed. If the Sphinx was built during this earlier period, it would mean that it predates the pyramids, and that the Giza Plateau was already a sacred or scientifically significant site long before the reign of Khafra. This raises the question: was the Sphinx a blueprint or a reference point for the construction of the pyramids? Another intriguing element of the Sphinx's role in the pyramid mysteries is the erosion patterns found on its body. Unlike other structures on the Giza Plateau which show signs of wind and sand erosion, the Sphinx exhibits deep vertical weathering that many geologists believe is the result of prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall. This led geologist Robert Schoch to propose that the Sphinx may be thousands of years older than mainstream archaeology suggests, potentially dating back to a time when Egypt experienced much wetter conditions. If the Sphinx is indeed that old, it suggests that an earlier civilization, not the ancient Egyptians as we know them, was responsible for its construction. This theory has significant implications for the pyramids, as it implies that knowledge of large-scale stone construction existed long before the traditional timeline suggests. If the Sphinx predates the pyramids, what was its function? Some believe that it served as a kind of celestial marker, used to determine specific alignments and measurements necessary for constructing the pyramids. The ancient Egyptians were known for their precise astronomical calculations, and some researchers argue that the Sphinx could have been part of a system used to track the movements of the stars, helping to align the pyramids with celestial bodies such as Orion's belt. This would mean that the entire layout of the Giza Plateau was not randomly designed, but rather part of an advanced interconnected system that blended astronomy, geometry, and sacred architecture. Another fascinating theory suggests that the Sphinx may have played a role in the hidden history of the pyramids through the existence of underground chambers. Ancient texts, including those from the Arab historian al-Makrizi, refer to a lost hall of records said to be buried beneath the Sphinx. According to legend, this chamber contains ancient knowledge from a forgotten civilization, possibly even the builders of the pyramids themselves. Some researchers believe that hidden passageways or chambers may exist beneath the Sphinx, potentially holding clues about the construction of the pyramids and the true history of early civilizations. In the 1990s, seismic surveys conducted around the Sphinx revealed anomalies beneath its paws, large, unexplained cavities that could suggest the presence of underground chambers. However, despite these findings, Egyptian authorities have not permitted extensive excavation, leaving the mystery unresolved. The Sphinx's physical characteristics also add to the mystery. Unlike other statues from the Old Kingdom, which depict pharaohs with clearly defined facial features, the Sphinx's face appears disproportionately small compared to its massive body. Some researchers argue that this suggests the head was recarved at some point in history, possibly to resemble Pharaoh Khafre or another ruler. If this is the case, then what did the original face of the Sphinx look like? Some alternative theories suggest that it may have originally represented a lion, in keeping with the Leo constellation theory, or even something more human-like but from a much earlier era. If the Sphinx was repurposed by later dynasties, it raises the possibility that they were inheriting a monument from a civilization lost to time. Another question that arises when considering the Sphinx's role in the pyramid construction mystery is whether it was part of a larger, now-lost complex. Some believe that the Sphinx pyramids and other structures on the Giza Plateau were part of a grand design meant to encode forgotten knowledge about the Earth, astronomy, and even advanced technologies. The precise alignment of the pyramids, the mathematical relationships found in their measurements, and their connection to celestial bodies all suggest a level of sophistication that goes beyond mere tomb building. Could it be that the Sphinx served as a key to understanding this lost knowledge? Some researchers also suggest that the Sphinx and the pyramids were part of an ancient power system, one that may have involved harnessing Earth's natural energy fields. The use of massive limestone blocks, the presence of underground water sources, and the precise placement of these monuments could indicate that the Giza Plateau was designed to function as something far more complex than just a burial site. If this is true, the Sphinx may have served as a vital component in this system, possibly as an energy conductor or as a symbolic representation of the knowledge needed to activate the pyramid structures. The mystery of the Sphinx only deepens when considering the possibility that it may hold encoded messages or mathematical formulas that have yet to be fully understood. Some researchers believe that the dimensions of the Sphinx and its alignment with other structures on the Giza Plateau encode information about precession, the movement of the Earth's axis over thousands of years. If this is the case, it would mean that the builders of the Sphinx possessed an advanced understanding of time cycles and astronomical phenomena, knowledge that may have been used in the construction of the pyramids. Ultimately, the role of the Sphinx in the pyramid construction mystery remains an open question. Was it an ancient marker used to align the pyramids with the stars? A remnant of a lost civilization that predates known Egyptian history? A guardian of hidden knowledge buried beneath the sands? Or perhaps it was all of these things and more, until further discoveries are made, whether through excavation, advanced scanning technologies, or breakthroughs in deciphering ancient texts. The Sphinx will continue to hold its secrets, watching silently over the pyramids as it has for thousands of years. Whatever its true purpose, one thing is certain: the Sphinx is more than just a statue. It is a key, a puzzle piece, and a link to a forgotten past, one that may change everything we think we know about the history of civilization. Chapter 12: Secret Rooms and Hidden Passages Inside the Pyramids. Beneath the sands of Giza, within the towering pyramids, and even under the enigmatic Sphinx, there are countless stories of hidden chambers and unexplored passages, mysterious voids that could hold lost knowledge, forgotten artifacts, or even evidence of an unknown civilization. While mainstream Egyptologists maintain that the pyramids were built as tombs for pharaohs, many researchers believe that their true purpose has yet to be fully uncovered. The idea that there are still undiscovered chambers inside these ancient structures is not just speculation, it is supported by modern technology. Advanced scanning techniques have revealed hidden anomalies within the Great Pyramid and surrounding areas, hinting at the possibility of secret rooms that have remained sealed for thousands of years. What could be hidden inside these spaces? Could they contain lost texts, treasure, or even evidence that challenges everything we think we know about history? One of the most compelling discoveries in recent years is the existence of a massive, previously unknown void inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. In 2017, an international team of researchers using a technology called muon radiography detected a large, unexplored space above the Grand Gallery. This space, which is at least 30 meters long, has no known access points, and its purpose remains a mystery. Some have speculated that it could be a hidden burial chamber, while others believe it may have been part of a larger engineering design to distribute weight. However, the secrecy surrounding further exploration of this void has only fueled speculation that something far more significant may be hidden within. The Great Pyramid has long been suspected of containing hidden passageways. Some researchers believe that the pyramid was not just a burial monument, but a highly sophisticated structure with concealed rooms meant to protect ancient knowledge. The existence of so-called air shafts leading from the king's chamber has been the subject of much debate. While mainstream scholars suggest these were designed for ventilation or symbolic connections to the stars, alternative researchers argue that they may have originally led to secret chambers. In 1993, a German robotic probe named UPO-2 was sent into one of these shafts and discovered a small limestone door with copper fittings. Nearly a decade later, another robotic probe drilled a hole into this door and found another sealed chamber beyond it, suggesting that there may be an entire network of hidden rooms waiting to be explored. The mystery of unexplored passages extends beyond the Great Pyramid. Beneath the Giza Plateau itself, there are extensive tunnels and underground chambers that have yet to be fully investigated. Early explorers and local legends have spoken of a vast labyrinth beneath the pyramids, a network of tunnels that may connect the three Great Pyramids and possibly lead to unknown structures buried deep below the sands. Some researchers believe that these underground passages could house lost records, potentially even the fabled Hall of Records that ancient texts claim was hidden by an advanced civilization to preserve knowledge for future generations. The Sphinx itself is rumored to be the entrance to such a hidden chamber. Arab historians from the Middle Ages wrote about secret tunnels running beneath the Sphinx, and modern scans have detected anomalies beneath its paws. In the 1990s, a team of researchers, including Dr. Thomas Dubecki and John Anthony West, conducted seismic studies around the Sphinx and found evidence of a large rectangular chamber beneath its front paws. However, despite these findings, further exploration has been restricted, leading to speculation that authorities may already know what lies beneath and are keeping it hidden from the public. Could these chambers contain ancient records, blueprints for the pyramids, or something even more groundbreaking? One of the most intriguing possibilities is that these hidden chambers may hold lost texts that predate known Egyptian history. Some believe that inside these sealed rooms are ancient scrolls or stone tablets that contain knowledge of a forgotten civilization, one that may have been responsible for the pyramids' construction. The idea that the pyramids and Sphinx are far older than traditionally believed has gained traction in recent years, with geological evidence suggesting that water erosion on the Sphinx could date it back to 10,500 BCE. If a lost civilization built the pyramids, their knowledge and records may still be hidden somewhere within these massive structures. Other researchers speculate that the hidden chambers might contain physical evidence of advanced technology used in construction. The precision of the pyramids' layout, their alignment with celestial bodies, and the near-perfect symmetry of their design have led some to believe that the ancient Egyptians, or whoever built the pyramids, possessed knowledge of engineering and energy manipulation far beyond what history currently acknowledges. If a sealed chamber were to be opened and reveal tools, machines, or even blueprints unlike anything previously discovered, it could completely rewrite our understanding of history. There is also the question of why these passages and chambers remain sealed. Did the builders of the pyramids intentionally hide something? Were these rooms meant to be discovered only at a specific time, or were they sealed off to prevent certain knowledge from ever being found? Some researchers suggest that these hidden chambers may contain something dangerous, whether physically or in terms of what it could reveal about history. Ancient texts speak of great power sealed away beneath the pyramids, and legends from various cultures describe vast underground structures that were closed off to protect humanity from what lay inside. Could these myths be based on real events? The mystery of the hidden chambers has only deepened with the increasing use of non-invasive scanning technologies. Muon tomography, ground-penetrating radar, and thermal imaging have all revealed anomalies within the pyramids, suggesting that there are more voids and hidden spaces than previously thought. Yet, despite these discoveries, access remains limited. Some argue that if the authorities were truly interested in solving the mystery, they would have already begun excavation efforts to explore these voids. The reluctance to do so has led to speculation that whatever is hidden inside the pyramids may be too controversial or too paradigm-shifting for the world to handle. While mainstream scholars may dismiss the idea of hidden chambers containing lost knowledge or advanced technology, history has repeatedly shown that unexpected discoveries can completely change our understanding of the past. From the unearthing of the Dead Sea Scrolls to the discovery of lost cities buried beneath the jungle, history is filled with moments where forgotten knowledge suddenly comes to light. If the hidden chambers of the pyramids ever do reveal their secrets, they could provide answers to some of the greatest mysteries of human civilization, or raise even more questions than before. For now, the pyramids continue to stand as silent sentinels, guarding their secrets beneath layers of stone and sand. The hidden chambers and unexplored passages within them may one day be opened, but until then, they remain one of the most tantalizing mysteries of the ancient world. Whether they contain lost texts, advanced technology, or evidence of an unknown civilization, one thing is certain: the story of the pyramids is far from complete. What lies hidden beneath these monumental structures could hold the key to understanding not only who built them, but why, and perhaps even reveal truths about the distant past that humanity has long forgotten. Chapter 13: Theories of Giants as Pyramid Builders. Throughout history, myths and legends from cultures around the world have spoken of giants, beings of immense size and strength, who once walked the earth. From the Nephilim of biblical texts to the Titans of Greek mythology, the idea of giant humans has persisted for thousands of years. But what if these legends are not just myths? What if giants were real and played a role in constructing some of the greatest monuments of the ancient world, including the pyramids of Egypt? Some researchers and alternative historians believe that the sheer scale and precision of the pyramids could suggest that they were built not by ordinary humans, but by a race of giants whose advanced knowledge and physical power made them capable of such an extraordinary feat. The Great Pyramid of Giza consists of approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. Some of the largest stones used in its construction, such as those in the King's Chamber, weigh up to 80 tons and were transported from quarries over 500 miles away. Even with modern machinery, moving such massive stones with the precision seen in the pyramid's construction would be an enormous challenge. If the ancient Egyptians relied solely on manpower and primitive tools, how did they achieve this? Some alternative researchers suggest that the answer lies in the existence of giant builders, beings whose sheer size and strength allowed them to move and place these stones with ease. One of the most intriguing pieces of evidence comes from ancient Egyptian texts and depictions. Some hieroglyphs and carvings show figures of enormous size standing alongside smaller human figures, leading some to interpret these as representations of giants who once coexisted with regular humans. The Egyptian Book of the Dead and other ancient texts mention beings of great stature who lived in the distant past, sometimes described as divine or semi-divine. Could these be descriptions of actual beings rather than mere symbolic figures? The idea that giants once existed is not unique to Egypt. Around the world, numerous ancient cultures have stories of giants who helped shape civilization. In the Bible, the Nephilim are described as the offspring of fallen angels and human women, mighty beings who lived before the Great Flood. Some interpretations suggest that these beings were not just warriors, but also master builders. In Native American traditions, stories of red-haired giants who constructed massive stone structures before mysteriously disappearing have been passed down for generations. Even in Mesopotamian texts, the Anunnaki, often depicted as much larger than regular humans, are described as the architects of early civilization. If these accounts are based on real beings, it is possible that some of these giants made their way to Egypt and played a role in pyramid construction. Skeletal remains of abnormally large humans have reportedly been found in various locations around the world. Some researchers claim that skeletons measuring over 10 feet tall have been uncovered in North America, Europe, and parts of Asia, though many of these findings have been dismissed or suppressed by mainstream academia. In Egypt, there have been reports of unusually large sarcophagi found in burial sites, far larger than what would be needed for a regular-sized human. The Serapeum of Saqqara, for example, contains massive granite coffins weighing up to 80 tons each. Officially, these were intended for the burial of sacred bulls, but some alternative historians speculate that they could have once housed the remains of ancient giants. If true, this could indicate that giants were not only present in ancient Egypt, but were considered significant enough to be buried in these elaborate chambers. The scale of the pyramid's construction also raises questions about the physical capabilities of those who built them. If the ancient Egyptians relied on thousands of laborers using primitive tools and ramps, why do we not see similar structures built elsewhere on the same scale? The pyramids remain unique in their precision and enormity, leading some to believe that their construction required a workforce with extraordinary abilities. If giants existed, their strength and height would have allowed them to lift and maneuver the massive stone blocks with ease, something that would have been nearly impossible for regular-sized humans using the tools available at the time. There is also the question of why no clear historical records explicitly describe giants building the pyramids. Some theorists argue that such knowledge may have been lost or deliberately erased over time. If giants once lived among humans, their existence could have been seen as a threat to religious or political structures, leading to their eventual downfall and the suppression of their history. Others suggest that the giants may have died out due to environmental changes, conflicts, or even a deliberate effort to remove them from history. The ancient Egyptian fascination with size and grandeur could also hint at a connection to giants. Many of their statues, such as those of Ramses II and other pharaohs, depict rulers as towering figures with exaggerated proportions. While mainstream scholars argue that these depictions were symbolic, emphasizing the divine status of the rulers, alternative researchers question whether they might instead be a reflection of reality, an echo of a time when true giants walked among humans and played a key role in shaping civilization. Another intriguing piece of evidence comes from the construction techniques used in other megalithic sites around the world. The precision and sheer size of structures like Baalbek in Lebanon, Puma Punku in Bolivia, and the stone circles of South Africa have led some researchers to suggest that they were built by beings with physical abilities beyond those of regular humans. The similarities in construction methods and the use of massive stone blocks across these ancient sites have fueled speculation that they were built by a common race of giant builders, possibly even an advanced civilization that predated known history. If giants were involved in building the pyramids, it would raise even bigger questions about human history. Where did these beings come from? Were they a separate species of ancient humans, genetic hybrids, or something else entirely? If they possessed the knowledge and strength to construct such massive structures, what other advancements did they have? And most importantly, what happened to them? Did they vanish due to a catastrophic event, or were they systematically eliminated and their history erased? Mainstream scholars continue to dismiss the idea of giants as pyramid builders, insisting that the pyramids were constructed by thousands of skilled workers over many years. Yet, despite decades of research, no definitive evidence has been found explaining exactly how these structures were built with such precision or why similar feats were never repeated elsewhere. The possibility of a lost race of giants adds another layer to the mystery, one that challenges our understanding of history and forces us to reconsider what may have been possible in the distant past. Ultimately, the idea of giants as pyramid builders remains a controversial but fascinating theory. Whether they were real beings or simply the stuff of legend, the connection between giants and ancient megalithic structures continues to captivate those who question the mainstream narrative. If evidence of their existence is ever uncovered, whether in hidden chambers beneath the pyramids or in long-lost texts buried under the sands, it could change everything we know about the history of ancient Egypt and the origins of human civilization itself. Chapter 14. The water pump hypothesis. Did the builders use hydraulics? The Great Pyramid of Giza has baffled historians, engineers, and researchers for centuries. Its construction, precision, and purpose remain some of the most debated topics in archaeology. Among the many alternative theories proposed to explain how the massive limestone blocks were moved and assembled, one of the most intriguing is the water pump hypothesis, a theory that suggests the ancient Egyptians may have used advanced hydraulic engineering to aid in the construction process. This idea challenges the traditional narrative that ramps and sheer human labor were solely responsible for building the pyramids and raises the possibility that the builders had access to a much more sophisticated method that harnessed the power of water. At the core of this hypothesis is the notion that ancient engineers may have created a system of water channels, locks, and chambers to move the massive stone blocks into place using buoyancy and hydraulic pressure. Given the pyramid's proximity to the Nile River, some researchers speculate that water was not only a crucial element in sustaining life for the workers, but may have played an essential role in lifting and positioning the stones. If the Egyptians understood the principles of water displacement and hydraulic force, they could have created a system similar to a modern-day lock and dam, using rising water levels to lift stones rather than dragging them across the sand. One of the key proponents of the water pump hypothesis is researcher and engineer Edward Kunkel, who suggested that the Great Pyramid itself may have functioned as a massive water pump. According to his theory, water from the Nile was channeled into underground chambers beneath the pyramid, where it was pressurized and used to help lift the massive stones. This concept is based on the idea that certain internal structures within the pyramid, such as the descending passage and subterranean chamber, may have been part of a sophisticated water management system that allowed for controlled flooding and draining to create the necessary force to move heavy objects. Supporting this theory is the unusual design of the subterranean chamber, which appears to have features consistent with a hydraulic system rather than a tomb. Unlike the grand burial chambers found in other pyramids, this chamber is rough and unfinished, with a deep pit that some theorists believe was used as a water reservoir. If water was channeled into this chamber and then released in a controlled manner, it could have generated hydraulic pressure capable of moving stone blocks up inclined shafts. Another piece of evidence often cited by proponents of this theory is the presence of so-called boat pits found near the pyramids. These long, narrow trenches were originally thought to be ceremonial boat burials, as ancient Egyptians often placed full-sized wooden boats in them for the afterlife. However, some researchers propose that these pits may have been part of a water channel system designed to transport materials more efficiently. If canals or water locks were constructed around the pyramid site, they could have allowed large stone blocks to be floated closer to the construction area, significantly reducing the need for dragging them across the desert. The existence of ancient waterworks and underground tunnels beneath the Giza Plateau further supports the possibility that the Egyptians had a deep understanding of hydraulic engineering. Some researchers claim that extensive tunnels and chambers lie hidden beneath the pyramids, possibly serving as an ancient water management system. The presence of water erosion on the Sphinx enclosure, which geologist Robert Schoch has argued could be evidence of prolonged exposure to large amounts of water, suggests that significant water flow once existed in the area. If this was the case, the pyramid builders might have harnessed this natural resource as part of their construction techniques. Additionally, the precision and scale of the Great Pyramid's construction have led some to question whether simple wooden sleds and ramps could have realistically been used to move such immense stones. The traditional ramp theory, which suggests that massive ramps were built to haul the blocks into place, presents several logistical challenges. The sheer size of the ramps needed to reach the upper levels of the pyramid would have required more material than the pyramid itself, making it an impractical solution. In contrast, a hydraulic system utilizing water pressure could have allowed the blocks to be lifted with far less effort, providing a more feasible explanation for the pyramid's construction. The water pump hypothesis also aligns with other ancient civilizations' use of water for engineering purposes. The Romans, for example, mastered aqueducts and water-driven machines centuries later, demonstrating that early cultures possessed advanced knowledge of hydraulics. The idea that the Egyptians may have developed similar techniques is not entirely far-fetched, especially considering their deep understanding of irrigation, canal construction, and water management along the Nile. Critics of the water pump hypothesis argue that there is little direct evidence of hydraulic systems at the pyramid site, and no ancient texts explicitly mention the use of water in construction. The mainstream view still holds that ramps, sleds, and human labor were the primary methods used to build the pyramids. However, proponents of the hydraulic theory suggest that much of the evidence may have eroded over time or been buried beneath the shifting sands of the desert. One of the most compelling aspects of this theory is its potential to explain how the massive stone blocks were lifted to such great heights with remarkable precision. If the Egyptians used water pressure and buoyancy to move the stones, they could have dramatically reduced the amount of physical labor required, making the construction process far more efficient. This idea challenges the conventional view of the ancient Egyptians as relying solely on brute strength and suggests that they may have been far more technologically advanced than previously believed. In the end, the water pump hypothesis remains one of the many alternative theories attempting to unravel the enigma of pyramid construction. Whether or not the Egyptians truly used hydraulics in their building process, the idea forces us to reconsider the possibility that ancient engineers possessed knowledge and skills that have since been lost to time. If future discoveries provide further evidence of sophisticated water systems beneath the pyramids, it could revolutionize our understanding of how these incredible monuments were built and shed new light on the technological capabilities of one of the world's greatest civilizations. Chapter 15: The Mathematical Codes Hidden in the Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just an architectural marvel, it is also a mathematical enigma. Scholars, mathematicians, and researchers have long speculated that its dimensions, angles, and ratios encode advanced mathematical knowledge, hinting at a civilization far more sophisticated than history acknowledges. Whether by design or coincidence, the pyramid's proportions seem to align with fundamental mathematical principles, including PA, the golden ratio, Phi, and even the speed of light. These hidden numerical relationships have led some to believe that the Great Pyramid was not just a tomb, but a repository of knowledge encoded in stone. One of the most famous mathematical correlations is the pyramid's relationship with PA. If you take the perimeter of the Great Pyramid and divide it by twice its height, the result is an approximation of PA 3.1416. This ratio is strikingly precise, considering that PA is an irrational number that wasn't officially documented in mathematical history until thousands of years later. Some researchers argue that the builders of the pyramid must have had an advanced understanding of geometry and mathematical constants to have incorporated such a precise ratio into their construction. The golden ratio, also known as Phi 1.618, is another intriguing mathematical relationship found within the pyramid. Many believe that its dimensions reflect this famous proportion, which appears frequently in nature, art, and architecture. If you take the length of one of the base sides and compare it to the height of the pyramid, the ratio closely approximates phi. The golden ratio is often associated with aesthetics, balance, and even sacred geometry, leading some to theorize that the pyramid was constructed with more than just engineering in mind. It may have been designed to reflect a universal mathematical order. Another astonishing mathematical connection involves the speed of light. The geographic coordinates of the Great Pyramid's location, 29.9792 degrees N, bear an uncanny resemblance to the speed of light in meters per second, which is 299,792,458 m/s. This correlation has led to speculation that the ancient Egyptians had knowledge of advanced physics or were somehow aware of the precise speed of light long before modern science discovered it. While skeptics dismiss this as mere coincidence, proponents of ancient knowledge theories argue that the odds of such a precise numerical match occurring by chance are extremely low. The dimensions of the pyramid also seem to encode the Earth's proportions. The pyramid's height, when multiplied by 43,200, equals the Earth's polar radius, while its perimeter, when multiplied by the same number, equals the equatorial circumference of the Earth. The number 43,200 is significant because it relates to the ancient Sumerian base 60 numerical system and the concept of precession, the slow wobble of the Earth's axis over thousands of years. This has led some researchers to suggest that the builders of the pyramid had advanced astronomical knowledge and intentionally encoded these values within the structure. Another intriguing aspect of the pyramid's mathematical mysteries is the so-called pyramid inch, a unit of measurement theorized by some researchers to have been deliberately used in its construction. Proponents of this theory argue that the pyramid inch is nearly identical to the modern inch and may have been part of a lost ancient measurement system based on natural constants. Some believe that this unit of measurement was embedded into the pyramid's design as a way to preserve mathematical knowledge for future generations. The internal structure of the pyramid also suggests a sophisticated understanding of mathematical principles. The king's chamber, for example, has dimensions that align with key mathematical ratios. The so-called air shafts that extend from the chamber point precisely to significant stars, indicating a deep knowledge of astronomy and alignment. Some researchers speculate that these shafts, along with the pyramid's overall dimensions, may encode information about the movements of celestial bodies, the precession of the equinoxes, and other astronomical cycles. The idea that the Great Pyramid encodes mathematical knowledge extends beyond earthly proportions. Some theorists suggest that it may hold information about the solar system, planetary orbits, or even the Fibonacci sequence, a pattern found throughout nature that many believe represents a fundamental code of life itself. The idea that such advanced knowledge could be embedded within an ancient monument raises profound questions about the origins of mathematical understanding and whether it was developed independently by ancient civilizations or inherited from an even older source of knowledge. One of the more controversial theories suggests that the pyramid was designed to preserve mathematical knowledge across generations, possibly as part of a larger system of encoded wisdom. Some have speculated that the pyramid's proportions align with numbers found in sacred texts, religious traditions, and even modern physics equations. If this were intentional, it would mean that the builders of the pyramid possessed a level of mathematical sophistication far beyond what mainstream archaeology currently acknowledges. Skeptics argue that many of these mathematical correlations are coincidental, the result of people looking for patterns rather than evidence of deliberate design. They point out that with enough measurements, numbers, and ratios, it is possible to find mathematical relationships in almost any structure. However, the sheer number of these mathematical alignments within the Great Pyramid, many of which involve fundamental constants of nature, suggests that they may not be mere coincidences. If the builders of the Great Pyramid did encode mathematical knowledge within its dimensions, it raises several profound questions. Where did this knowledge come from? Did the ancient Egyptians independently discover these principles, or were they passing down knowledge from an even earlier civilization? Could the pyramid be part of a much larger system of ancient monuments designed to encode a hidden mathematical language? The presence of these mathematical relationships within the Great Pyramid adds another layer of mystery to its already enigmatic construction. Whether or not these correlations were intentional, they continue to fascinate researchers and challenge our understanding of ancient civilizations. If new discoveries shed further light on these mathematical codes, they could change the way we view the Great Pyramid, not just as a tomb, but as a monument to the hidden knowledge of the ancient world. Chapter 16. The Ultimate Question. Have we been wrong about the pyramids all along? For centuries, the pyramids have stood as silent sentinels of time, their towering forms resisting the erosion of history and the attempts of humanity to fully comprehend their origins. These structures, the most famous of which is the Great Pyramid of Giza, have been the subject of endless study, speculation, and debate. The official story tells us that they were built by the ancient Egyptians as tombs for their pharaohs, constructed using tens of thousands of laborers who worked tirelessly with primitive tools to move and shape massive limestone and granite blocks. Yet, despite this widely accepted explanation, the questions surrounding the pyramids remain as vast and immovable as the structures themselves. The more we uncover, the more we realize how much we still don't know. Have we been wrong about the pyramids all along? One of the greatest mysteries lies in their construction. The sheer scale of the project is mind-boggling. The Great Pyramid consists of over 2.3 million blocks of stone, some weighing as much as 70 tons. If the official timeline is correct, the workers would have needed to place one block every 2 to 3 minutes, day and night, without fail for 20 years. Not only would this require an almost unimaginable level of organization and precision, but it also assumes the use of simple tools, copper chisels, wooden sleds, and crude ramps, none of which seem capable of producing the incredible accuracy found in the structure. The pyramid is aligned almost perfectly to true north, with a margin of error so small that even modern architects struggle to replicate it. The base is nearly level to within fractions of an inch. The corners are precisely angled. How did an ancient civilization achieve such a feat without advanced surveying equipment, high-precision tools, or machinery? Even the transportation of these blocks raises questions. The granite used in the king's chamber was quarried over 500 miles away in Aswan. The official explanation is that these enormous stones were floated down the Nile on wooden boats, then dragged across the desert and lifted into place using primitive means. But moving a 70-ton stone today requires modern cranes and specialized equipment. The idea that this was accomplished thousands of times using sheer manpower and rudimentary tools defies logic. If the Egyptians truly managed this, then they possessed knowledge of engineering techniques far beyond what has been attributed to them. And what about the inside of the pyramid? Unlike the elaborate, richly decorated tombs of other pharaohs, the Great Pyramid contains no hieroglyphs, no murals, no inscriptions detailing its purpose. If it was meant to be a burial site, why is it missing the intricate carvings that define nearly every other known royal tomb in Egypt? The supposed sarcophagus in the king's chamber is nothing more than a large granite box, too large to have been brought in through the passageways, suggesting it was placed there before the pyramid was completed. It is unadorned, unlike the lavish golden coffins and intricately inscribed tombs of other rulers. Was this truly a burial chamber, or could it have served a completely different purpose, one that has yet to be understood? Mathematics adds another layer to the mystery. The dimensions of the pyramid appear to encode advanced numerical relationships. The ratio of its height to its perimeter mirrors the mathematical constant pi. Its proportions reflect the golden ratio, a number found in nature and classical architecture. When measured in certain ways, the structure even seems to encode the speed of light and the dimensions of the Earth itself. These correlations are dismissed by some as coincidences, but others argue that they indicate a level of knowledge far beyond what the builders should have possessed. If these measurements were intentional, then who taught the ancient Egyptians such advanced mathematical principles? Beyond the numbers, alternative theories about the pyramid's function have gained traction. Some researchers suggest that it may have served as a power plant of sorts, harnessing natural energy from the Earth's vibrations. The materials used, quartz-rich granite, limestone, and other conductive elements, suggest that it may have been designed to channel energy in ways that we do not yet fully understand. Was the pyramid an ancient energy device, capable of generating and transmitting power across vast distances? Did the builders possess knowledge of resonance, magnetism, or frequencies that modern science has yet to rediscover? Other theories propose that the Great Pyramid was not built by the ancient Egyptians at all, but rather inherited from a much older civilization. Some evidence suggests that the structures on the Giza Plateau could be far older than currently believed. The weathering patterns on the Sphinx, for instance, indicate that it may have been exposed to heavy rainfall thousands of years before Khufu's reign. If true, this would mean that parts of the plateau predate the established history of ancient Egypt by thousands of years. Was the pyramid the work of an advanced lost civilization, one that left behind no written records but possessed engineering knowledge that has since been forgotten? Even the placement of the pyramids raises questions. They are positioned with incredible precision, aligning with the stars of Orion's belt. Was this simply a symbolic gesture, or does it suggest a deeper astronomical significance? Did the builders encode celestial knowledge into the structure, possibly as a way to preserve information across generations? The idea that ancient civilizations had an advanced understanding of the cosmos is often dismissed, but time and again discoveries reveal that they were far more knowledgeable about astronomy than previously thought. If the pyramids were meant to serve as markers or messages aligned with celestial bodies, what were they trying to tell us? And then there is the biggest question of all: what if we have been looking at the pyramids the wrong way this entire time? What if they were never intended to be tombs but something else entirely? What if they are remnants of a forgotten era, built for a purpose we have yet to comprehend? Could they be evidence of an ancient technology, a lost science, or even a connection to something beyond our current understanding? If we have been wrong about their true function, what else might we have misunderstood about the past? Perhaps the pyramids are not just historical monuments, but messages left behind, messages that we are only beginning to decipher. They stand as a challenge to our assumptions, a silent reminder that history is not always as it seems. The deeper we dig, the more questions arise. And maybe that is the greatest mystery of all, because the pyramids do not just belong to the past, they remain as a testament to something greater, something waiting to be discovered. And as long as they stand towering over the desert, they will continue to inspire wonder, challenge belief, and remind us that sometimes the greatest secrets are hidden in plain sight. So after everything we've explored, the impossible construction, the unexplained precision, the missing hieroglyphs, the strange mathematical codes, what if the pyramids were not built by the civilization we've always assumed? What if they are remnants of something much older, something lost to time? Could an unknown prehistoric culture, one with advanced knowledge of engineering, astronomy, and mathematics, have built them long before the ancient Egyptians? And if so, where did that knowledge come from? Was it inherited, rediscovered, or perhaps even given to them by an external force? The deeper we look, the more the official story starts to crumble. The pyramids are more than just ancient monuments. They are a riddle carved in stone, a puzzle waiting to be solved. Have we been looking at them the wrong way this entire time? What other mysteries are hiding beneath the sands of Egypt, waiting to be uncovered? And if we've been wrong about something as monumental as the pyramids, what else in history might not be as it seems? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe the pyramids were built by an unknown advanced civilization, or do you think the official explanation still holds up? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mysteries of the pyramids, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more mind-blowing theories, and share it with others who love unraveling the secrets of the past. The mysteries don't end here. There's so much more to uncover. See you in the next one.